the psalmist, David. So when you understand that once you start, you see yourself sitting in the God seat in triple darkness in the middle of nowhere, and you recognize and observe that position, you sitting in the center of creation. That's the mindset. You sitting in the center of creation and you creating everything. Okay, now you simplify the totality of creation. You got to bring it into your 3D model of yourself. I'm God pretending to be Rod. How am I supposed to behave as God in this 3D realm? This is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to rewrite who the system told me to be. I'm not going to be Rod. I'm going to be Morpheus Mysticus Magus. Morpheus Mysticus Magus is our chemical name that was adopted by the character Rod in order to break free from the character Rod and become the embodiment of the liberating mind that I want to be, so that I can help other people liberate their mind. So more.
A mic was muted, my fault. Waiting on Red and Blue right now. Red, he was just on his channel live, so waiting for him to join. We got this. Listen, man, we got some geniuses in our community. A brother named Adika Butler made an amazing observation about the whole 100-man versus gorilla thing, and it being tied into propaganda. And it's important that we see propaganda when it's coming, because they have a way of desensitizing us to things that they're about to do. And yeah, the media is their main weapon of choice. Somebody said, hold up. Brother Yaki needs our positive energy right now, family. His life is really in danger, according to his FB post. They taken away his YouTube channel, and he has people following him. Prayers to the brother Yaki. I ain't talked to the brother in a couple of months, but I gotta get a brother. Gotta get a brother a call. But I did hear something about that, about them taking his YouTube channel and some other stuff. So yeah, I hope the brother's good, and I'll definitely check up on the brother. Shout out to him and Nabi. Nabi is his manager. Great brother. So I'm gonna check up on them too. But I hope they I hope they doing fine. You know, shout Blue Pill in the building. Blue Pillar, what's good, my brother? You can hear me?
Absolutely, loud and clear. Peace, my
All
good
right.
brother. How are you, man?
Yeah, I'm good. I was just saying prayers to Yaki. Somebody told me about a post of they took his YouTube channel and some other things, you know, him being followed and stuff like that. So I'm gonna reach out to the brother and make sure he all right, you know. We
And
got
to
another
that
genius.
brother was all in my thoughts the last 2 or 3 days,
Uh,
and I intended to do the same thing, like you know, reach out to him to make sure that all was well. But yeah, that's great.
yeah, yeah.
And I kept seeing his face on my, like how the YouTube y'all put the pictures up, and it's not necessarily a program. I've been seeing that on my timeline on YouTube for the past few days, but I will check into that, like you said.
Right, right, right.
Mm.
But yeah, we gonna check up on the brother. Shout out to the brother. Yo, did you pardon me, family? Did you get a chance to read the post Adika Butler that I sent you for Adika?
Absolutely did.
Yeah, we got some geniuses in our community, so it's just dope.
I mean,
You gonna be like, okay, this is what they said, and
Whose computer is that?
there.
Was that Red?
hands
Okay.
down, and I consider myself a writer. Um, Adika is one of the best writers in the game, hands down. You feel me? That brother's a visionary architect. He is a master with the vocab, and of course, he's well researched and well studied. Um, I consider him like a big homie. I be learning, you know what I'm saying? I'm a student in his classroom, so and he's an amazing author.
Indeed, indeed.
Right? Get his book, Treasures of Darkness, y'all. If you could get your hands on it.
Somebody said they all the way from Lisbon, Portugal, but I'm African. Shout out to you. Where's Portugal? Where exactly is Portugal, Blue? Where I don't want to.
Right next to Spain.
It's right next to Spain.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're definitely going to be delving into Spain and Portugal tonight as the two centers that experience blackouts.
Ooh.
So yeah, shout out to the family, the melanated family that is currently in Lisbon and Portugal.
They heavy out there too.
They're heavy out there. These are one of the centralized locations that the migrant, quote unquote, the migrant issue of the global south is taking place. The migrant issue of the global north is what we witnessed over here with with the MAGA response. But the reverse migration of Europe is the Africans now going to the places that colonized them.
Right.
And Portugal is one of the main sites. We can get started. Like,
all right, let's get started. Let me wipe these glasses off.
yes, indeed.
I want all of y'all to
Peace,
follow.
brother Red.
Peace.
Okay.
Red
Peace,
with-
brother Blue. Young Smoke.
Peace. I feel like I ain't been here in a minute, and I made sure I drunk some coffee. So yeah, shout out to the chat, y'all. I miss y'all.
Yeah, I want to make sure everybody in the chat, make sure y'all follow this brother.
Please.
Real good brother. I knew the brother all the way from Brooklyn and shit since probably about 2007 or something like that. He was one of the first brothers who came by and supported me and purchased something from me. So shout out to this brother. But his Instagram is Adika Butler. And if you are interested in somebody who uses damn near 100% of their brain to come up with some thoughts that you don't see everywhere else on social media, you know, everybody just repeats the same thing over and over.
Right.
Go to his page and you'll be thoroughly impressed. Let's get to this article. Let's get to this post.
Yeah.
All right. So I know everybody seen viral this. Well, tell the people about the 100 gorilla before I get into this. What's going on with the 100 man versus gorilla thing that everybody keeps seeing?
So there was a meme that came out this strong. I don't know exactly what day it was of this strong, but a meme went viral about the possibility or the idea of 100 men defeating a silverback gorilla, right? So what started as a regular conversation sparked into, memes, thought pieces, segments on podcasts and whatnot, and it's still taking place. But it's interestingly enough, silverback gorillas come out of the Congo, right? And while they were having this conversation about 100 men taking on a silverback gorilla, this man, Ibrahim Traore, right, who by many accounts is the most important leader of our generation, he was receiving, I would say, global, he was being globally stamped, because prior to this week, people knew about him, but not to the extent to whereas, the big dogs had him in their scopes and whatnot. And the two stories kind of like coincided with one another.
All right, let me read this post real quick. I appreciate that, Red. All right, this is not a post intended to browbeat and guilt trip people who are innocently expressing their sense of humor and creativity with 100 men versus gorilla meme on social media. Most people are using social media for shits and giggles so that they can briefly escape the challenges and complexities of day-to-day life. Nevertheless, this post is a reminder that some curated social media content is made viral because it was designed to gauge public opinion on matters of high importance from the start. As people participate in the 100 men versus gorilla speculation, the punk leaders of 100 different nations are considering an attack on one man in Burkina Faso, and that man is Ibrahim Traore. However, the leaders need to know whether you think the gorilla or the group of 100 is more powerful. In other words, who's the real threat in that showdown? The corporate media is considering turning up the heat on is it Troy?
Troy, yep.
Troy, yeah. And
Troy.
how he is presented to the Western world. Social engineers are priming impressionable minds to rally around the takedown of a powerful man who must be dehumanized into a political gorilla so that the blind masses will support his downfall. Dehumanization before attack worked for Hitler in Nazi Germany, and it worked for the rapid capitalists against African prisoners of war in the age of so-called discovery. And amidst all of the social media machinations, you have an ex-football player who was an hulking image of a man being tarred and feathered for his primal indiscretions. As a result of Mr. Football's antics, the King Kong program was already activated in the collective American preconscious when the gorilla challenge popped off. Some will say it ain't that deep. This is all overthinking to sound smart, but we're not all locked in on this reality and the world around us with the same intensity and level of depth. So we don't all see the same things. What you see is what's real to you. What do you see? All right, so yeah, that's a hell of an observation. I think everybody looked at a lot of people looked at this as shits and giggles. There's a whole revolution taking place that, depending on your algorithm, you may not know what the hell's going on. But I've seen footage from Jamaica.
Your phone is a little choppy on my end. Is that the same with y'all?
Ray, am I good? Could you hear me?
Now,
Better
yeah.
now, yep.
Okay. Yeah. I'm seeing a revolution taking place all over the world that, depending on your algorithm, you may not even know, because you may have Shannon Sharp dominating your algorithm. You may have Diddy dominating your algorithm. You may have Kanye West dominating your algorithm, and you may have some other foolishness dominating your algorithm. But a lot of serious things are happening, and once again, this is just another sign from the universe to let us know that the tides are turning and that we need to stay vigilant, we need to stay aware, and we need to stay on top of our game. So with that being said, man, talk to me, elaborate on this brilliant piece that Adika put together that some may say we're overthinking, and some may say that is an amazing observation. Brilliant, my brother.
Yeah,
Right.
I definitely concur that it was a brilliant observation. Because he's spot on. The Shannon Sharp trope directly was a bell ringer for the King Kong trope, and not even by their prompting, by his prompting,
Mm-hmm.
by the language that he was utilizing about doing the things to that quote unquote rail thin melanin challenge young woman. That was very much identical to the tropes that go out about what you call it about King Kong.
Mm-hmm.
And as Red said, King Kong is a direct trope directly to the Congo. King Kong is also the prototypical stereotype of melanated men's virility, that or how we appear to them. And you
Mm-hmm.
know who them is. When they see us, they see King Kong. Even if you're 15, even if you're 13, that's what happened with Mike Brown,
Mike Brown, right.
right? When they were specific about how they viewed him,
Mm-hmm.
Incredible Hulk,
right?
he said.
Incredible Hulk. So if they see a 15-year-old like that, what do they see Shannon Sharp as? I also want to make a very notable distinction and correlation and connection to this entire trope while it's going on, because this will be heavily covered in our lecture tomorrow with Saints and Sinners, and that is the two initials of the SS. So you have Shannon Sharp, right? She filed the complaint on 420, which was Easter. I never in my entire life heard of a quote unquote court case being filed on Easter,
On a
Mm-hmm.
Sunday.
on a Sunday in the West Coast on a Sunday. So why does that coincide? Because SS ties directly into Hitler, and that was his birthday. And why is that important? Because Hitler also was resonating the HH, which was 88, and the next day the Pope died. And why is that important? Because when we fast forward, then we get Shador Sanders a few days later, and that's SS. And why is that important? Because Kabbalistically, Shador Sanders equals 88 in gematria as well. So and then that was the quote unquote that was also an aspect of the taming of
The Pope died at 88, Blue.
Yeah,
Pope died.
88.
Yes, all of these are connected.
Damn.
And of course, they all connected to saints and sinners, which are another, sinners for that matter, which is the other SSs. But we again,
Blue been doing his homework since he been gone. Yeah,
He get it in his sleep.
Only been doing my
He get
homework.
it in his
You know
sleep.
what I'm saying? So
in the
these
Astro.
observations, right? These observations that we're making, and let me layer it, just triple and double it, just to make sure that we can't pivot out of the box to a setting. Even the connection with Hitler and quote unquote the Pope is succinct because 420, of course, Hitler's born day. And then lately, as of lately, we heard in the news that he was hiding out in Chile, Argentina, and that's where the Pope is from.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So there's a direct connection and correlation. These overarching, this conversation about race is continuously coming back into the headlines. You know, the whole aspect of the movie Sinners, and they're speaking about race relations with European women, Caucasian women. What I always speak about post civil rights, the reason that they created civil rights and what hip hop was a quote unquote lens to was this social experiment of them unleashing melanated men saying, all right, now you can go and money all of you want. That's the only thing that changed with civil rights. And then specifically with this rollback that they're doing with DEI, that's what they're specifying and rolling back. Oh, you want faithful bitch? You over there with them niggas, huh? I'm gonna cut your vine off. You know what I'm saying? This what you did with your freedom. You ran over there and gave them some Becky. Guess what? I'm putting you back in the closet. And I'm putting them on notice.
Right.
You feel me? And I'm getting my act together and I'm coming back for my woman. And who y'all saying is the top nigga on the board? Yeah, we're gonna knock him off then.
We're gonna knock him real
because
quick.
Look, I said, and I try not to say it too loud because I don't want to get blamed for shit. Right? The first president that Trump met with was Macron from France. Right? All of that fist bumping. What you think that was about? Look like you got a nigger problem. Oh, for real? Well, and that's where the posturing takes place. That's why they talking crazy about Europe. JD Vance is going to Europe and calling them cowards because of their migration issue. Well, who are the migrants?
Right. Who's the migrants?
Muslims and Africans.
It's the Senegalese.
Right? That's who they talking to them
Malians.
about. Take care of the problem because we finna be taking care of ours. And that's how they compare their notes.
Red, what's your take on this piece, this post by Adika? Then we'll move on.
Hell of a piece, hell of a thought piece. You know, once again, his observation is a high level observation, and I'm here for it. You know what I mean? I could see it. I could see the throughways. I could see where everything ties in. The shit with Shannon Sharp was definitely summoning the quote unquote King Kong trope and whatnot. Interestingly enough, it was LeBron who was on the cover of the magazine who was reenacting that trope and whatnot with the ball and everything. It
was Variety magazine, I believe.
It was either one of those, and he helped bring that back and whatnot. And like you were saying, so many people have been distracted. We live on different timelines. So in some people's timeline, they're looking out and saying, yo, Africa is going through a revolution right now. Like they're being liberated, and Ibrahim Traore is the quote unquote model leader around the world. I mean, I could come up with many different leaders, but there's no leader that I could point to right now who is doing the things that he's doing. And he belongs to an alliance. There's 3 of them in the Sahel and whatnot. But he's the one that's standing out as the anointed one. He's the Thomas Sankara reborn and whatnot. But it's the shockwaves that he's sending across the continent and the diaspora and whatnot to show people, nah, we gonna do a coup d'etat, then we're gonna nationalize, then we're going to quote unquote, we're not gonna talk about it, we're gonna show what it means, because a real revolution is kicking the colonizer out. A real revolution is knowing about nationalizing and knowing your worth by nationalizing your natural resources and telling the people that was feeding off of it, nah, bro, we not sitting at the table with y'all. Everybody got it.
So it's not symbolic revolution, and no disrespect to Haiti, right? And I have to be very careful how we walk down this particular lane, but that was to me, it was a version of symbolic freedom, and it's like getting the tick out but not removing the head, because those people today are extremely Christianized in terms of their Catholicism. You feel me? So you can get a whole dictator or a whole colonizer physically out of your country, and the shit remains mentally, and then it starts to fester. You know what I'm saying? And they put the people in game because of the debt. You know, once you accept, again, we don't understand, or we seem to not understand what these soul contracts entail. So when you accept money from the not the IDF, but into the IMF, you know what I'm saying, and you start getting food from the WEF, all of them strings that come attached to that, you know, are there to reappropriate and lock you back down. So they attempted every trick that they attempted with this brother, because they pulled out all of the stops, and these are the normalized stops. Remember, we're speaking about transnational, global hitmen that do economic hits on these particular global southern country, these quote unquote so-called third world countries. Every single thing that they attempted to put in front of him that would have neutralized his revolution, he was smart enough to deflect. And not only that, he was able to pivot their offerings, and then, you know, like Red said, come back with his own plan in terms of nationalizing, putting more power in the hands of the people, as someone who took his country over by a military coup, right? And then created a chain reaction where now it's three of them. So when America or the US is attempting to restabilize its global footprint, right? Immediately the Burkina Faso, or the three of them who have broken free, they are aligned with quote unquote China as a power for the most part. We can say that, but really Russia, right? The Wagner group and things of that nature, they were the ones who gave them military aid. I don't know if you guys remember, there was a terrible massacre in Mali in the Dogon village, specifically in Dogon village. Yep. So with the French
was this
recently,
like 2 or 3 years ago, they came up, they was beefing with like tribes next to them, right? But these other tribes were being weaponized by the French, and then they were also getting the ICE, them folks, right? The ISI, you know, them folks, I don't want to even say their names, but they were utilizing them as proxies, as they're doing all throughout the Middle East. So they was going up into Dogon country, fam, and wiping out entire
villages,
like elders, right? Villages, hundreds of out of here. And then they were burning down Timbuktu. So the remnants of what was left over from the library, they were desecrating and destroying those things. Yes, and the French were doing it, and you know what I'm saying? And I don't even got to say alleged with that, because it was proven. They got them folks up out of there, but they told them, take all your ish with you, right? And that has never been done. And then they locked the door behind them. Once they got the vampire out, they put the salt in front of the door, locked the door, and put the garlic on the top. You understand? No more vampires. So now they like, oh, we finna burn the house down then. Oh, we can't get in? Oh, we finna burn the house down. Oh, you won't take no money from us? Oh, we finna burn the house. Oh, you nationalize your hospitals? Oh, you national. So son is making, he's putting a smile on Tupac and all of the Shakur's face. Any global and African revolutionary is looking at this and saying, this is the best thing since sliced bread. And what a juxtaposition that we got this brother at the same time that we got this dude over here.
Ain't that something? Wow. What blue and red? What would you say is the similarities or differences between Ibrahim and Gaddafi and what Gaddafi was doing in Africa?
There's a lot of similarities. Gaddafi was about the United States of Africa, and Ibrahim, right? He said that if the other countries would, or the other nations would basically join the alliance, then they could kick out the quote unquote AU and all of that fake proxy, all of those boule type. They're like boule over there. Right. So if they would get them out of the way,
He's showing them how they can boss up. He's showing them how they broke.
Yeah, he's proposing that they boss up.
He's speaking about one currency. He's speaking about a gold-backed currency, and I believe he's also speaking about a borderless, aspect, because they got a
non-visa travel and
Illmatic visa issue over there. If you thought we had it bad, an Illmatic visa issue. So he was speaking about doing in essence. He is the cleaner glass version of what a quote unquote Gaddafi represented, because he don't have the soul contracts. Gaddafi made a bad soul contract with the devil, and he didn't have two left feet, and he got tripped up, and we literally saw what that looked like. You know what I'm saying? The minute that he apologized, the minute that he spoke about Lockerbie, I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember. In the audience, I'm speaking to the family. If y'all remember Lockerbie, that was really one of the main issues, right? Who blew up Lockerbie? And they always said it was the Libyans, and they never had evidence. Right. And he popped out to make a peace deal, and they sent his ass up after that. He tried to make a deal with the devil. You know what I'm saying? And I'm so glad that we get to talk about these soul contracts and make these observations, because that's exactly what this movie was hitting on. You know what I mean?
Indeed. So the movie Sinners, how do you feel that has affected so far up to this point? When you compare with other movies that have messages in it, in terms of the Black Panther, how do you think this one has hit different so far? This seems like this is standing out from a lot of other movies that came out.
It's more complete.
Okay.
Black Panther had the white savior. I'm sorry, Blue.
Oh,
y'all had a whole show. Y'all might have had two shows. I ain't get the chance to talk about this yet. Hand down, the most important movie ever.
You think so?
You said ever?
Ever,
this
is some random shit, but I can't ignore it, Blue.
It will go down as breaking records. Like I told y'all this time last year about Kendrick, it's gonna go down like that in terms of historic, with the record breaking and legendary for what it has set precedent wise, but narrative wise and timing.
Why is the best movie ever, Blue? Why? You got to explain. That's a bold statement.
A heavy statement.
I just said narrative wise, and I said timing. Those two particular things. The after effects, how it arrived, when it arrived, what it did on not just a box office level, which speaking about a spiritual reckoning, that movie was a direct implication of the church. You know what I'm saying? A movie about red and blue, and then on Monday, the day that the purple one transitioned, which was Prince, then the Pope dies at the age of 88. You know what I'm saying? On the Queen's birthday as well. The last time that we was like, oh, what happened? Ding dong, the Queen is dead. Now, boom, it's the King. You know what I'm saying?
That was her birthday?
Yeah, that's her birthday. We can Google all of this information. Like, all of this is available. So, yeah, unprecedented for the impact it has had, but the complexity of the story, and I've done thorough research, and I don't even think that I've got everything, but the amount that I have, unearthed research wise, the way that they interlock these Easter eggs, it was beautiful. He makes the case for why AI can't write the scripts and outright humans, because this
Woo!
was so jam packed. Yeah, the
Yep.
nuances that only we can catch as
Yeah.
humans, to put certain things in certain places and interlock and interweave and intertwine and intertwine. Now, regardless of whether people get the real essence of the message or not, because it's a now time message, and I don't think people have caught it because they're not in the streets. They're not taking up on, they're just too lackadaisical. They're still line dancing. So I don't think that the true essence of the message has set in. People are still enraptured by fiction. They love the fictionalized version of the story, but they don't want to deal with the real story.
Blue,
They
don't
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 want to.
come for the line dances, Blue. That's our.
Oh
You
no, no,
seen
that's sacred.
that's our power. Don't come.
Nah, we
Don't
we partially we went. Nah, I was line dancing on Wednesday. And that don't let me front.
Yo, what happened? Somebody in the chat said the minister told America to leave him alone. What happened with the minister?
I don't know.
Could you elaborate on that? Outlaw Hip Hop TV. If you can elaborate on that, let me know what's going on.
I'll share something that I
He
heard.
probably Farrakhan probably said all hands off Ibrahim, more than likely.
Yeah, elaborate
That's
on that.
it's only right that he would say that. Remember, Ibrahim is a Muslim leader, right?
Yeah, that's
He is a
another
Muslim
thing.
leader. In the Muslim world, they need a strong man. They don't necessarily he is the one that everybody is looking at right now, not because he's a Muslim leader, but because as a Muslim leader, he's the one doing it right.
Mm.
The other Muslim leaders, they doing what they doing, but he's the one that's doing it the way that it was intended. And people would
Yeah,
say that, oh, Blue, you all right? People would say that, he's a revolutionary or he's doing something revolutionary. And I'm saying, no, it's not revolutionary. It's just African. The Africans are so far gone that they think that a regular leader helping his people with some damn free education and resources and nationalizing the resources is revolutionary. And no, it's not. It is the ideal African leadership mentality that if these Europeans never interfered, all of Africa would have that mentality. You know what I'm saying? So the Nkurus, the Thomas Sakaras, the Patrice Lumumbas and whatnot, yes, they did have somewhat of a revolutionary mind state, but when you really look at it, they were really just approaching this as an upright African leader. You know what I mean? It's considered revolutionary because there's so many people that are sellouts in the seats of power in Africa that anybody that says no to France or says no to Belgium or says no to America, oh my goodness, they got a death wish and this must be the second coming up. No, my nigga. Get out my country, pack your shit up. Y'all can't have get up out of here. We don't even have functional electricity right now. Like y'all tweaking, you know what I mean? So I would just add that, you know what I mean? He is going to inspire the younger generation. Remember, this is diasporic. It's not just the continent right now. It's just shit is spilling over into the UK. It's spilling over into the Americas. And like Blue said, on the heels of this movie that basically laid out the crack commandments, right? The 10 vampire commandments. Don't let them in. Stop running behind these Beckys and trusting them and whatnot. Make sure niggas eat garlic before y'all go out.
That's what.
Yeah, y'all gotta break the garlic out. The movie has very significant, like Blue Pill said, it covers so many tropes. Music as an outlier, right? Music as a power source. Music being more powerful than organized religion. Did you see the message that he left you with? You know what I mean? So religion, spirituality, vampirism retold, right, through the eyes of an energy vampire and a cultural vulture. That's what Remick represented, right? The Europeans who get tempted by our talent and they hear, oh my goodness, what who's that singing? Oh my man, it's 5 of y'all. I want him. How many times did that happen? Oh, now y'all came in as a group. Now I want that nigga right there. I want the magical Negro. Here, we gonna throw a little here, make it rain on him. Throw some singles on this nigga. We want him. Sign right here, sign. Once you sign, you a vampire. Got him. Because what was the promise? You're gonna live eternally. You're gonna be free of poverty. You know, be a part of this tribe. It should sound like diversity, DEI, and whatnot. Be down with us. And that's how they fool so many young children in the hood. That's how they fool so many adults. That's how they fool so many people nonstop around the world. That's how they fooled them people in Africa to let them in to take over their minds and take over their quote unquote agriculture and all of this other shit.
Indeed. Quick metaphysical question, since y'all touched on the movie, and shout out to everybody who's just coming in. We started a little late tonight. Today is Friday night, so I hope everybody's having a good Friday night. Let's see what we got. Trinidad and Tobago. How you say it? Tobago or Tobago? Tobago, right? Tobago. Shout out to Trinidad in the building. I see y'all with the flags in the chat. You know, we was talking extensively about music in the last show we did on Sinners, Blue, and I want to ask you metaphysically, if you could describe what happens metaphysically when a person hits a note. We see when a person hits a note that it does something to your soul. Women go crazy. Brothers feel it in their soul. It's just something unexplainable that happens when a Michael Jackson or R. Kelly and Mariah Carey, we go on and on, but metaphysically, can you give a breakdown of what happens when a brother or sister hits that note that we all know that they hit?
Well, again, you know, when we speak about our physical body, we have an energy body. In my lecture that I did on this platform called the subtle energy body, it's called the subtle energy body, right? The subtle energy body is what is picking up the vibration that are emitting from these strings, right? I speak about it, the strumming of the strings. So you have this particular resonance in your body called a chakra system, which is picking up different notes and different frequencies. And based on those particular notes, it's almost like if I'm, you know, at the amusement park and I'm doing the hammer and I'm hitting the weight and the weight is going up, right? And if you slam it, right, it'll shoot all the way up. You feel me? That's like being at the concert and Whitney going for that note. And it's going to go all the way up, and it's going to take you on a euphoric ride because you're physically going along with that ride, but energetically through your energy systems or through your energy senses. So when they crack that ceiling and they hit that note and they're all the way up there, again, music is symbiotic. So I'm right there with you. I'm right there with her. You know what I'm saying? We're tethered to her when she's performing, either via, you know, specifically, that's why on vinyl record, it was even because analog is even more receptive. Right. But if I'm in a concert, then it's a whole energy field. I'm feeding into it and she's feeding the audience. And it's a give and a take. You know, when I'm seeing Kendrick on his GNX tour and I'm looking at his energy reserves, I'm as somebody who work out, I'm looking to see how he's performing in hour 2.
Yo, his breathing is crazy.
It's crazy. So I seen him get more hyped towards the end of the concert. I seen him get more energy, and somebody that work out, I'm like, okay, he's past the endurance threshold. You know what I'm saying? And he's able to hold those particular, because he's hitting notes as well, ad-libbing, grunts, lyric. You know what I mean? Like he's hitting, he's doing the equivalency of hitting his notes, and he's physically performing. He's moving with it. You know what I'm saying? And we are along with it. We are enthralled in the performance. We are tethered to it. We are enraptured and enveloped in the presence of the performance. So that's the magical properties. And again, I've never in a movie saw them show the metaphysics of how music impacts and affects you spiritually and opens planes and portals and brings all things together quantumly. And not only does Ryan Coogler owe Red and Blue a check, he owes Black Dot one. Salute to
Seriously.
Black Dot for seeing hip hop decoded, choreographed in such cinematic fashion. You know what I'm saying, on 70 millimeter screen.
Facts.
Salute to Ryan Coogler or whoever passed him that book, and the fact that he decided to put that into this presentation, into this movie. Once again, the most complete, important movie ever. Good job.
Indeed.
And,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
because there's no time like the now, and I'm just want to, I like to put so much precedence on the present moment, and I just feel that the magic of cinema was captured in this offering. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing bad I can say about it.
Somebody asked what the book that Blue is referring to is Hip Hop Decoded.
Hip Hop Decoded by
I
Black
think
Dot,
that
yes.
needs to be revisited, Rich, in book club aesthetics. I think that the Hip Hop Decoded qualifies as one of those, must reads that we could be revisited. You feel me?
No, definitely.
We be like roaches.
In terms of the tactic of dehumanization with somebody before they make their move, let me see exactly what Adika Butler said. He said dehumanization before attack worked for Hitler in Nazi Germany, and it worked for the rapid capitalists against African prisoners of war in the age of so-called discovery. How do we counter this in the age of social media and in the age of the internet, where when the algorithm gets fed, everybody hops on it because they know they're going to get few views. So if they dehumanize Diddy, everybody's going to dehumanize Diddy
Right.
most part because they know that's going to generate the views. If everybody's dehumanizing, let's say Billy Carson, everybody's going to dehumanize him and say this nigga lost a debate because that's getting the views. So how do we, if we know dehumanization comes before the attack, how do you counter that in the age of social media, in the age of where everybody follows the algorithm?
Because they just used it to counter it, right? And I also have to bring up the fact that one of the most recent dehumanizing campaigns that worked very successful, and it was done through social media, was Gaddafi. All the way up until when you seen him get bodied on film. He got bodied on live. You know what I mean? They desecrate, they disrespected him, but I don't want to get into that. The way that they countered that was with those mass protests. Like I didn't get the email from Sharpton and all of them, like how they had the boycotts. Somebody got the word out. They was in
Somebody got
Jamaica.
the word out.
It was in Times Square. Like I didn't even know, bro. They mobilized real quick for Ibrahim. Yeah, and they didn't want to show that shit on mainstream media. They was trying to kind of like cover it up, but they'll pop out again for him when the volume gets turned up a little louder and whatnot. They just literally twisted the notch two or three times, and hands off. They was outside deep. So for anybody who may be unfamiliar with the brother and hear the propaganda, because they're like, yeah, he's stealing from his people and all of this dumbass shit. If you were to look at the protests or just get on like a TikTok and hear, there's a lot of videos now coming from Jamaica, coming from the UK, and coming from America, FBAs in America. They like, nah, I will boot up and go over there and rock with homie. Y'all better stop playing with his name. That's gonna thwart a lot of this weak propaganda, because we know who the propaganda is coming from, and it's not gonna necessarily reach us, but of course it's going to program their people, because their people are game goofy and they go for anything that they feed them.
Yeah, and they're starting a propaganda news cycle. I've been beating the drum about Pete Hegseth before this administration started, and through every mishap, I have been as throwing my shoulder out, putting myself on the mother goddamn chopping block, right? Attempting to just point to the characters to show y'all who to keep your eye on, how they gonna play this thing, and who's going to be, the person that's responsible for running this play. So all along, the only person in this entire cabinet, or the one of the main importance that Trump was concerned with, was Pete Hegseth, because they always were going to lean heavy on the military for him to do what he needs to do domestically and foreign, right? So they were just gearing the propaganda campaign up. They took the bald head black dude and threw him under deodorant, right? Pete Hegseth dragged him out of the Pentagon, fired him, demoted him, not necessarily fired him. So this is their tactic, right? We're gonna come in here and wild it up. We're gonna turn tables over. We just gonna make mad noise. We're gonna just be raucous, right? And then shut the door. And then everybody's gonna come with their hat in their hand to have a whole different sort of conversation. So we gotta wild out and see who's really down, because all along we had in our plans that we was going to attack Africa and melanated third world countries. That's going to be our entire program and our campaign. So the first country that they attacked was Africa, and they did it on the first day of Black History.
Yeah, Somalia. They bombed Somalia.
And then they turned around and attacked Yemen on the day of the blood moons, right? On the day after homie's birthday, because his birthday, he's a Pisces, he's a Pi baby. He's born 314. Blood moon was 315, right? The IDF reserves those days to say we're going to set it off on our number one ops. So they went right after who? The Ansar Allahs, or what we call the Houthis from Yemen, right? So you got two jump offs from this 44-year-old who put his signal out at 11:44 in the signal chat, right? So I was like, look at this on a Wednesday. So I was like, oh, I know what this means. They're going to war, right? This is a military pro campaign, and this is all these people is focused on. So then they roll homie back out. The bald head dude, he got a new conversation in his mouth now. Now he's in charge of AFRICOM, talking about going after homie. So what you think they did with him?
Yeah, put the battery in.
They threw a hazing ritual, threw a battery, and said, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna pledge allegiance. If you're gonna be down, you're gonna run these plays. And the biggest play of them all is we want. Yeah, you know who we want. You feel me? It can't be two T's on the timeline at the same time. My homie over here is getting, you know what I'm saying? Get this nigga on my you know how petty and simple Trump is. It ain't even gotta be personal. It's like, oh, now this nigga's getting more coverage than me.
Yeah.
Right? Because again, this is about masculinity. This is about templating and imprinting masculinity in a way where he's going to throw everybody else under the deodorant. And whoever don't want to go, you know what I'm saying? You better be sided and situated with someone else that could. So this is all about who can stand up the tallest on the global stage and grab their fame. This is a pissing contest. And and it's strategy. They're globally strategizing themselves for rare minerals, you know what I'm saying, and really to make a play on Congo to see who gets that pinnacle piece, because they can't compete with China if they don't get their hands on a critical pivotal piece of the rare earth industry coming out of the Congo. And yeah, and I remember, all of these. I remember reading the Times article when they got 1 5-star hotel in the Congo. They said Dikembe Mutombo was in the hotel lobby. You feel me? And Eric Prince was there. So Eric Prince is the guy that heads up Blackwater. You know what I'm saying? And this was the mercenaries getting in, but America was late. They were saying it's like, nah, y'all got locked out by the Russians and the Chinese. Y'all got to play third fiddle. Dikembe Mutombo was ahead of them. Oh, rest in peace to that brother, because he's up out of here now. So,
I forgot he passed away. Dikembe.
Damn.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah. They got
Rest
him out of
in
there.
peace, Dikembe.
So, this thing is,
Good. Now, just real quick,
let's
side note, you
Go
know,
ahead.
Vob's Cartel is coming to Georgia. Y'all going to see him?
When?
I see that we got a lot of Jamaicans in the chat. I think in June
yeah.
sometime.
He
Yes,
coming
I'm
to he
going.
coming to ATL.
You know.
He coming to
Yeah,
ATL.
man. Come on, you acting
Um,
like you old and slow. He coming to the A.
we
What you
front
talking
row
about?
for
We
that.
spoke about this the other day. You
World
bugging.
boss. You know what I
Remember
mean?
we
I'm
was talking
front
about
row
the
for
prices?
that. Now I know he was going to Miami. I didn't know he was coming to Atlanta. Relax.
We was talking about Atlanta, bro. He coming to the A. But yeah, let's do a collective group meditation because we didn't get outside and protest. And it's interesting. So I'll say this, right? While the world was protesting, and Red said he seen something in Times Square. That's what's up, right?
They boxing in Times Square right now.
But at the same time that the world was protesting, Trump on the 99th day of his administration, which was April 28th, put the executive order out that weaponized and militarized once again the police force
They did.
and put all decisions in the hands of Pete Hegseth, Pam Bondi, and Cash Patel.
Yes.
And he militarized them and he deputized and weaponized them, the police, the Homeland Security, all the alphabet boys to say fight crime in the US. And then he hired every law firm to say if the police unalive somebody, they're not going to jail, and we put in the best lawyers to defend them. And if a judge tries to prosecute them, we arrested the judge. So
Who did that? Because I'm not. Who did that? Trump?
Yeah.
Donald J. Trump did that on the 28th, on the 99th day of his presidency, which would have been Monday, which was the same day that he was protesting. So I'm
Right.
just saying, let's test the metal. Go out this weekend and protest. That's all I'm saying. See what you know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna go there, go there. Don't just go there for homie over there. Like, let's go there for our situations over here because shit is getting progressively real. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And it's wonderful that they care so much about homie. He's one of the ones, but we got some real issues right here that we're gonna have to tighten up our bootstraps and really see. You feel me? Like, what's really going on here?
Somebody, when you said it, I just seen somebody in the chat said we can stand up for Africa, but not Turtle Island, where we from. What's your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on that
That's,
is
that's
we don't have no
hold on,
strongmen over here.
hold on. Can I just
They're
finish
not
this?
standing up for Africa. They're standing up for Ibrahim and what he represents for the future of Africa. You know what I mean? And also the protest for anybody that's in the chat saying that, you got to understand when they assassinate a leader, they assassinate your future. They assassinate the plan and they assassinate the man. So the people that are outside protesting, I don't give a fuck where they at. You could be on El Segundo, you could be on another planet. If you see some play going down and you know I'm not about to sit back and watch them destroy the future of Africa, I'm not about to watch them. They did it with Nkrumah. There's a war going on in the Congo right now that literally started when they clipped the goddamn leader, bro. All the way back then when they had when they clipped Lumumba, all the way back then, bro. Like these conflicts that are taking, they done pillaged them for trillions of dollars worth of resources. So no, if we had a strong man in America that was putting on, and they try to run down on him, like if they try to play Farrakhan and try to and run, then of course it's going to erupt. People are going to step up. People are going to come outside. Let's stop acting like our energy is not. 1 minute, oh, there's no such thing as time and space. We everywhere. You was never there, and we now and then it's like, oh, we can't afford to be standing up for somebody over there. What about over here? No, nigga, we standing up for over here. We standing up for over there. We standing up for wherever these people, these crazy ass bald heads is at. We got to stand up and stand on some business because, like Blue said, it's and when I say TikTok, I ain't talking about the app, my niggas. The time, right? If this was a chess game, If this was a chess board, when you play the game of chess, it's all about timing. We playing around for too long and the timing is ticking, my niggas. We got to stand for something. We got to make the same way that the MAGAs and all of them and these Christian nationals are feeling like they're making a statement. Well, it's time for us to make a statement, and we could do that.
Can I answer? Because he asked me the question.
Yeah.
Again, and it goes into what I just said. You know, we haven't seen ourselves standing up for ourselves for anything outside of what we saw in 2020. We're defending somebody else and on another continent that we have feelings and sentiments about, and that's wonderful. That's great, and I'm glad that we are diasporically coming together to stand. But there's been an egregious encroachment upon our own quote unquote rights. And this is directly tied to our protest. This is a direct response to the last time that they seen us protesting. Every single thing that they have done, they said, homie overdid Project 2025 in the first 100 days. He overextended himself. Every single thing that they did was to counteract our public protests and our ability. And the only way that we'll see whether, you know, whether we still have that particular metal or whether we can do for self the same way that we uniformly do for others is if we're put in that predicament. Now, I don't pray for that predicament to see what we're made of, right? And I'm also saying that maybe we've learned better that we can do things on social media and everything doesn't necessarily necessitate public protests, right? But then they've countered that as well. You feel me? The level of censorship that I've experienced on Meta, on ChatGPT, on the AIs is unreal. It's unreal. And I'm sure that you can attest, Red. Don't just sit there. Right? The way that I see them boxing in certain things,
the censorship,
while we focus on other stuff, is unprecedented. We need a town hall to talk about some of the things that we are witnessing taking place right here in this beloved country of ours. And that is of no disrespect to anybody being triggered by what they see globally, for someone who deserves our support, someone who deserves our, you know, if you can see yourself in him, that's great, my nigga, but there's a revolution over here that's waiting for you to step to the front and lead. And that can be in the form of a narrative, that could be in the form of activity, that could be in the form of you coming up with a plan, that could be in the form of anything that you consider to be radical. So yeah, something's radical is like, yeah, yo, I got kale for you, nigga. I got some mangoes, like something. You feel me? Other than the song, like. So and I say that like art as a protest. Shout out to, we seen two brothers from the West Coast show us how to utilize their platforms artistically and utilize performance art as protests. We seen it with Kendrick at the Super Bowl, and we seen it with Ryan Coogler, right, on the big screens with this movie. And because I want to make just a very blatant observation, the creatures, the monsters, and the terror in the movie was not the vampires. It was the Klan. I don't know if y'all, you know, everybody caught that. But the demonstrable threat, right? The real horror was not the fiction. It's the real life shit that we're still living with, attempting to overcome. And that was racism.
And Smoke smoked him. Yeah, Smoke martyred himself. Smoke martyred himself and smoked them.
Yeah, but that don't
put
stop
them in the pack.
I understand that. Yeah, but that doesn't extinguish the Klan. That doesn't terminate the Klan. That's just up in the score. You feel me? At the end of the day,
you'll never terminate the Klan. You'll never terminate the Klan in America, my brother. You know what I mean? You could put them in hiding. You could send them into hiding, but you're not going to terminate the mindset of white inferiority.
Let me say this, y'all, and I want to get your opinion on my take. because I went to go see the movie. I went to go see the movie with my girl, right? And when we was on the show with Keys and Abundance and Red and B-Dell, I think Keys had mentioned his favorite part was when they went through the timeline of black music.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't think about it till after the show, and Blue just triggered something in my mind. My favorite scene, because you know we each have our own biases and experiences in life that causes us to think certain things and draw certain conclusions. Because I just had a daughter, my favorite scene, hands down, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm a softie when it comes to movies, and when it comes to children and movies, I get emotional. I was
I know what it is.
I was a millisecond from crying. My
know.
girl said, when
I welled up. I welled up. I know.
bro, I was going like this. I was like, you know how you just keep moving, so like you try to keep busy. I'm like, I started drinking water. I'm like, I don't want to cry. I'm like, I don't want to cry. I'm like, is she looking? I don't want to. But yo, that when he was about to off, dude, he turned around. He seen his girl with the baby, and she breastfeeding the baby. That was the most beautiful shit ever, bro.
Right.
And you know what? And Blue, I say that to say, because you like that's not gonna get rid of the can. But what I got for the movie, and hopefully other people
No. He said that. I didn't say that.
Oh, what? Let me just say this. What's beautiful about that scene is I want niggas to stop being scared of dying.
Right.
We have been programmed with this fear of death that we will go through anything not to die. Niggas will drop on their knees and show gratitude so they won't have to die. Like, nigga, it's not the end. This is a millisecond of your soul's existence. There's beautiful things waiting for you in other realms. But the scene, for those who see the movie, they daughter died and they showed the grave early in the movie. So to see that his girl who just got killed by the vampires was on the other side with their daughter, yo, that shit right there. Oh man, I just want to add that. Woo!
Yeah, I had the same, you know, as the Smoke doppelganger, and the one out of me and my brother with no seed. Yeah, it was very emotional seeing that scene, and you know, and again, I wanted to denote also through my observations, just like to Veggie back on what you said. He made a declaration to die. He had a determination to martyr himself because he took off the children back. So he already knew that he was going to the upper room to reunite with Annie and the child. But seeing it unfold, it swelled up my emotion, and I made like you make those mental declarations, like I won't go out like that, like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's so much honor in how he handled his BI, and then he tore homie up. Look, I was like, empty the clip. You feel me? Like, you disturbing this moment. How dare you?
I think I heard somebody say before, I don't know who said it. If y'all or somebody in the chat could elaborate, I heard somebody say there used to be civilizations or cultures who taught people how to die with honor. There was like a certain practice or something like that.
Whoever went to Japan and came on your show talked about that.
It was either AA or Keys.
One of them
went to Japan.
The Bushido aspect of dying with honor. You know what I'm saying? And Bushido comes from that particular practice had come from the continent because, you know what I mean? We was the Afro samurai. We brought that to them.
Right.
Amongst our clans, we you know, and this is who we are. We are indicative of honor as a people. We've always had honor, especially amongst our military. You know, our warriors. We carried that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, there is a time to die, as it's said in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? And as men, you should gallantly accept that. You know, we all gonna transition. You are responsible for having some intake actively into how you transition. So don't shirk the responsibility of being a man. You know what I'm saying? And die 1,000 deaths like a coward.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me?
Right.
this
Embrace it.
this is a calling. I don't just look at it as a movie. I look at it as a clarion call for those of us that are outside really fighting vampires in real life. You know what I'm saying? Don't go out like no sucker.
Mm. Don't go out like no sucker. Y'all
Right.
heard what Terrence said? Terrence said they gotta take drugs all day just to get by. Remember
Oh
Terrence
yeah,
Howard was on Pat Beverly David? He was
yeah.
like, man, he was like, they never the same. Once they sell, they sold.
And I really want to harp on that because it's a twofold effect of what we're speaking about. The selling of one's soul or these soul contracts that we're speaking about. You can be duped into a soul contract or you can be offered, right? You can be enticed, you know what I'm saying? In order to do some things that are unbecoming of yourself. And he said, once the men lose their manhood,
Yeah.
you can't ever dial that back. So he's speaking about this vampirical aspect of when they abuse you and they do a particular thing to you, they bite you and you become one of them. Granted, right? We see
Mhm.
that, right? Or why? How else would you explain it? That they jump on a dude and they jump off the dude, and now the dude is acting like a woman.
Mm.
He got bit by something. His whole chemistry and demonstration changes, and now he's running around trying to bite other people. You feel me? And then that other observation that we're making contractually, these people get bit by contract, and then what do they turn around and do? We'd be like, yo, this shit could have ended with you. This generational curse could have ended with you. And they'd be like, yo, it's just a game, son. I
Yeah.
had to find son to do the same thing. But we like,
It's
damn,
just,
but
it's
it
just,
happened
it's
to
just
you.
business. It's just
Why
business.
you think just give him a better contract? Yo, it's just business. And you gotta be on the other side of the ropes to understand, fam. No, I don't. You could have gave him a right contract. You could have put in there that you're gonna pay him this amount of advance, and he got a one or two album or three, you know what I mean? But you got him down for a 7 to 10 album out contract, and you know that he ain't gonna. So I done seen whole situations get ruined like that. I don't know what's going on with Griselda, but I'm like I can't ignore the fact that Benny is not making music with West Side and them no more. I'm like, what happens with these people when they get around these get around these contracts and on the other side they get around these folks.
Yo, I think Blue Red, I think one of the most beautiful things, this life that we live offers so many beautiful moments that I know my soul will carry on for an eternity. I think as a man, one of the most beautiful things that can happen to you and for you to experience is to turn down a bag. And it's like it's sort of like a high because it's like the ultimate test when you get offered a bag that doesn't align with your purpose or your integrity or your character, or who you are. And for when you turn it down and you see the road or direction your life goes, if you would have took it, it's a beautiful thing. You look back and you like, wow, thank God I never went that route. So shout out to all the brothers out there who turned down bags because it didn't align with their aura and who they were. I think that's one of the most beautiful things a brother could experience is turning down a bag because it really shows you the value and the currency of integrity. That shit is rich and it gives you so much light.
Power
So
and
much
light,
power.
right?
Yeah.
Because it reinforces your decision making process.
Yes.
And there's nothing like a decision that you make that comes back and be like, damn, good decision. And it was a hard decision initially, but you weathered through it. You feel me? You took an arrow or two, but you still was able to get to triage and you healed up from it. You like, damn, that was one of the best decisions that I made.
Mhm.
And be like, oh, carrots on sticks out here is real because they was dangling it. You feel me? Pause. And had I taken it though, I'd have been hit. I would have went for the momentary because it's been time where I really needed the bag. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And it's like, nah, you this ain't it. This ain't the one. You feel me? And you gotta put time between that decision that you make. But in hindsight, you get to see that you made the right decision because this was a trap door involved. You know, everything that I thought that I was looking for was here, but right behind it was an opening hole. And I would have ran for that and fell down the hole. And you know, those traps are always laid, family. So you have to practice discernment and making these decisions, you know, we really want to speak about these soul decisions because, again, they're showing you the repercussions of them can be everlasting. And thankfully, we've had the opportunity. Thank you, Brother Rich. Thank you, Father Rich. Thank you, Radio Rich. And thank you, Red Pill, for us unifying and having these conversations around music, dedicating ourselves to want to educate the family on hip hop, launching Hip Hopolis, and having this conversation that predated this movie, which was a very responsible one because the movie showed it to you in a very fictionalized way, but nonetheless, the importance of discerning these soul contracts, right? The importance of knowing what's behind a handshake, the importance of knowing who to invite and who not to invite to the barbecue. You know what I'm saying? The importance of not ignoring red flags, right?
Right.
Also,
So
yeah, you got to be super coherent of the company that you keep because all of our personal interests are not the same. So now I switch to Grace, right? And Grace's interest was her daughter, not the company that she kept or not even her husband, right? But they was able to dupe her by what? Trumping her love by utilizing fear. We have to psychoanalyze the thin line between fear and love because that could destroy a whole situation. Yeah, right.
I was just gonna add on that it's always better to dodge a bullet than to get hit by one. So there's been relationships that you might have dodged, and you was able to look at it from on top of a hill as it rode off into the sunset, and you're like, "Damn, I dodged that bullet." Woo! You know what I mean? I could have got hit by that bullet. You know. So salute to everybody who make the right decisions because like the movie showed you, one decision could change your life forever.
Yeah.
One decision, one signature on a paper could put you in a perpetual state of slavery. You know, one hump like a camel could have you in a situation that you can't get out of. One hot heated moment,
One.
you could wind up pulling a trigger or crashing out and throw it all away, man.
One.
So for those who are, it's about mastering your quote unquote mind, your the self mastery. If Stacks was able to master his lower self, he would still be alive. He wanted to hit that yeah. He was
I hear
supposed
that,
to
Red.
be.
I hear that.
No, I'm just saying he had a job. He had a role to play. He had a quote unquote. He had a position to stand, and he didn't stand that position. He didn't play that role. He went for a little quickie.
Talk about it, Red.
And that decision changed. Don't talk about it. What the fuck? So that decision put his ass in the situation that he was in.
So Ryan Coogler got your algorithm down to a T. My genius. Don't be rebellious. Chill. You paying this rollout. All day.
That's true. That's true.
I seen them situations from the driver's seat and the passenger, but you still here. You made it. You know what I mean? And I've attempted to be smoke in this situation in your life on many occasions. And then sitting there and seeing that story play out the way that it did and watching our life.
Right.
Like, wow.
And then look at where it got you. You did all of that to wind up like Arthur Ashe.
Man, y'all crazy.
Just like Arthur.
Shout out to Arthur Ashe, man. Shout
out to Arthur. But if they offer, if Netflix is doing the biopic, I'm sending Blue's picture in right away. Because look at my guy. It's a doppelganger right there.
Arthur Ashe. Don't make comparisons. I know.
What happened?
He went out bad. He had a house in Virginia.
He was a legend.
Super legend.
Yeah. He was a legend with the socks pulled all the way up. Come on now. But you know, It's all about our decisions that we make in life. So our decisions is based off of, you know, our constitution. It's based off of our character. It's based off of, you know, what do we stand for and what are we standing on? All of these things come into play. Henceforth, why there's so many people that are being taken advantage of from our community through the industry and to other industries, of course, corporate America. You know what I mean? I mean, I could go on for days, but the industry that we are familiar with is the music industry and the movie industry, because those are the industries that send our heroes back to us with their tails tucked between their legs, and they're sometimes downtrodden and beaten down. Rest in peace to Angie Stone.
Peace, Sharif.
Sharif, we about to close out in the next I would say in the next 30 minutes we're gonna get to Q&A. Why don't you come join us? And Sharif, you supposed to come on here with some other dude you was telling me about. Oh, no homo. I see. I see Blue's face. He's supposed to. I said, Sharif, you supposed to come on here, Blue.
With the other dude, the dude.
That sounds even worse, man.
Shout out my brother Sharif. You know what I'm saying? You got a career in Godlywood. Your acting abilities are all the way up. I was transfixed on that clip that y'all got going viral on the internet, on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Our brother Sharif is a certified. Yeah, I want to highlight all of the actors in the community, man. We need to start making some films, y'all.
Sharif, click on that link real quick. Nobody else. Don't click on it. Nobody else.
Sharif is cornbread in the movie.
But Sharif, click on that link real quick. I want you to join us as you close out, and I'm gonna get you on. Yo, so next week, let me just say this because I got a question for y'all, and then we're gonna get some Q&A from the people. Next week is the week, Black Magic's week of the Divine Feminine. So it's all sisters next week. I got an awesome lineup. Yo, y'all ever heard of this sister on Instagram or TikTok called Yaya777?
Nah.
Your awesome sister, powerful sister, man.
Yeah.
Powerful sister.
Yeah.
She's
There you
gonna
go.
There you go.
She gonna be on Monday, y'all. But next week is the Divine Feminine week. I
got a request.
Awesome.
You got all of your slots filled up already?
No, not yet. No.
Yeah. This amazing sister. I'm sure that the chat is gonna speak for her. Mama T, I believe her name is.
Oh, the older sister, right?
Yeah,
she got a channel. I see. Yeah, she's fire.
She there's so much synchronicity, like in the conversations that we have. She's a missing part to a lot of combos that we have.
You got her contact info?
I don't, but I can get it.
Yeah, get her info if you can. Get her info if you can. You know who else I'm hollering at? I want to get on Miss Blue. Remember Miss Blue from back in the day?
Of course.
Yeah.
Wow.
Want to have Miss Blue?
She's still working.
Salute, Sharif.
Salute, Sharif.
Yo,
salute you, my brother.
Sharif, so you here right on time, Sharif. I want to ask your three gentlemen.
Sure.
We're talking about Ibrahim Traore and certain propaganda that's happening. We talked about the idea of dehumanization before attacks that has happened in the past with Hitler and other parasitic individuals before as well. Yeah. In terms of, we talked about the idea of Ibrahim being this revolutionary that we haven't seen in a while. In terms of what we represent and what we do as men to our families, whether we have wives, whether we just have a mate, whether we have children, whether we have nephews, but we all have family, extended family, some small families. Have y'all ever had, if we're talking about revolutionary men, we're talking about Smoke in the movie, being a martyr, going out like a martyr, saying, I'm ready to get the fuck out of here, see my woman, see my child, but I got to handle some business before I get out of here. Have y'all ever had that conversation with your girl, your wives or whatever, about listen, that day may come
Yes.
How do you feel? You know I ain't going out like no sucker, right?
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
you like have y'all ever talked to your like I'm talking about, you know who I am though, right, baby? Like you know who I am, right? Like you know who you with, right? Like
Right.
tell me, because
Yes.
as a inspiration and as a sort of like to help the brothers out there who may not have that conversation, who may be scared of death, or who maybe just haven't heard other black men talk like this about
Man,
death
listen,
openly.
that's our
Yeah.
superpower. Even many of us, quote unquote, melanated, brown skin, Asiatic, black, whatever you want. Listen, that's our superpower. Even though many of us aren't quite in touch with that superpower, it's dangerous. This skin tone is dangerous, but it's dope. Not everybody can hold the weight we hold. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
They can't do it. Now, to your point, I've had that conversation. I've said, listen, the world I live in this flesh and in this world. In this world, we driving down the street and we see the red and blue lights behind us. It could happen. You know what I'm saying? It could happen. You need to be ready for that. Also, you can't shoot your mouth off too crazy, because that's going to call me into action, and I got to do what I got to do, which might mean we have to meet next lifetime. You know what I'm saying? But that's our superpower, people. How we teach it, man's not the body of the soul. Man's spirit and part of God. Man and Allah are one. So you know what that means? I'll be back.
Right.
Woo! He said,
It's
I'll
true.
be back.
You know what I mean? That for real. But that's our superpower too. That's also the magnetic. That's the magnetic attraction of manhood.
Yeah.
That's why so many of our sisters are still in the church, because they chase that idea. It just looks like a pale guy with stringy hair. But that's a guy that sacrifices everything. He said, it's recorded in the Bible, no greater love is there than this, that a man gives up his life for his friend. That sounds like an MOP lyric. I might get shot, just not by you.
Red Blue, y'all want to add in? And then that's one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard. C Diggs just shared it. Sharif said, "See you next lifetime." That's a beautiful line that could be in a movie. See you next lifetime. That's beauty. That's beautiful.
Well,
Red and Blue, go ahead.
You know when they say that,
talk with your ladies. Have you had that talk? Go ahead.
You know when they say that you're supposed to be equally yoked.
Yes.
What they're talking about not only, is also personas to a degree. There are some relationships where the husband is a warrior and the wife is, she's not a warrior. She's just
A
very,
A nurturer.
She's a nurturer and she loves her warrior and whatnot.
Yes.
But that conversation has to be had. There's certain rules of engagement when we're outside like this, you know what I mean? And you are necessarily a target. So, I my thing is I want to prepare those who are in my quote unquote circles and whatnot for when I'm not here, in order to be able to function if that day ever comes and I'm not here, you know what I mean? So I look for someone who could stand tall, with or without me, you know what I mean? Because the possibilities of something taking place or it's just, it is what it is. I'm not in the streets,
right?
Where that possibility is much higher. Yeah. I'm on the front lines, right? Where I'm not even going to say that possibility is higher being on the front lines, because I'm not moving with that type of energy and whatnot. To be honest with you, in this community, I've been safer than I ever was when I was in the streets, crossing the street, standing outside on the street. You know what I mean? Like, it's a different type of danger in this community, but let's just, we'll put it out there as that. But yeah, we all got to stay on point. We all got to stay focused. We all got to have our heads on swivel. And it's the job of the man as the protector, as the warrior, and as the front liner and whatnot to kind of like hold it down in those senses. You are the protector. My nigga, you security, not your whiz. You security.
Come on now.
However, the intuition of the woman, right? The sixth sense of the woman, the ability to see what you don't see.
Come
right?
on now.
And also the Annies of the world who protect us, who do the juju for us, who pray for us, who will kill a fucking cow for us.
Come on, bro.
We need all that.
Need all of it.
We need all that.
I was about to hit on that sentiment right there to say, well, I got an Annie, you know what I'm saying? And she's been in the thick of things with me through some pretty harrowing situations. And even though I have communicated to her, you know, I'm gonna go, right? You know what I'm saying? And giving her instructions about, you know, in case of my untimely demise, I need you to do this. I want this played at my funeral. Don't let this nigga come. You know what I'm saying? Well, this nigga show up, read this note, you know, all that shit.
Word.
All these Easter eggs I done left.
That's right.
To make sure my shit goes on.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
So she don't like hearing it, but she definitely has handled it because we've been there. We've been in them situations where, like I said, I be outside fighting vampires for real. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the wizards don't like having that conversation,
Right.
but it's important for us to remind them the line of work that we're in,
Right.
and what can potentially happen as a result of it. You know what I'm saying? Because it can get real, and you can be in the scopes like an Ibrahim.
Right.
You know what I mean?
This
And
job comes with plot twists.
yeah, compel it, turn it up. You know, I've always said work to the degree that they want to have Ibrahim, because if not, then you're not working hard enough.
You're not working hard enough, bro.
Yeah, so like granted, we here, man. I lived an amazing, marvelous life, but I didn't get this far to be safe.
Come on now.
And I do, you know, I want to leave children, I want to leave a legacy, but I'm not holding on to cowardice either. So if my number gets called, I'm going like I've always went. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't know if that was gonna change, you know, in older years when children and things of that nature come into the mix.
Right.
But I've already said my bye-byes to my mama.
Come on now.
You know what I mean? Because I was outside rolling around with the NY. You know, I've just seen too many near situations to not know that this shit can happen unexpectedly. You feel me? As a call of duty. So, yeah, if you with
bro,
me,
you Blue.
got to know.
Blue, to your point, you just made me flash back to a situation where a number of us, we considered ourselves on call for you with the whole NYPD situation.
Yeah, thank you, brother.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, that was real. They was trying to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
so
I remember the other day you was 33 when that happened too, because that was around the same time my son was born.
it was.
They tried Jesus Christ you.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. Something you said, Brother Rich, to who said it? Red Pill said it about equally yoked.
Yeah.
It made me flash back to the movie 47, when someone was talking to his wife and he said, "Listen, you gotta let the whole world believe that we're divorced and you got nothing to do with me."
Right.
He goes, "Only you and I can know that you're the joy of my entire life." And she says, she said the most gangsterous thing. What?
Well,
She said, "I'm the wife of a samurai. Your duty is my duty too."
woo! There you go. You got a little.
Shout out to the Wizards.
Yo, shout out to the Wizards, man. That movie, y'all got me thinking about that movie and just life.
Shout out to the Wizingtons. Yo, Sharif.
Yes, sir.
How many of us to take out the gorilla, my nigga?
Yo.
How many of us, man? Because I'll run down on them. I think about 50 of us. I ain't even going with 100. I think 50 of us could take the gorilla out, bro.
You get the right minds, bro. I think less than 50.
Less than 50, yeah.
Less than 50. Look, I'll put it to you like this. This is my thinking, right? My thinking is like this. You know, man is mind. You know what I'm saying? So that being said, the illest victory ain't the physical beatdown. The illest victory is to get the gorilla to think like us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, because my thing is like, how many men is it gonna take to take down a devil? And that's the real conversation that we should be having and reinforcing it. You
Come
know,
on now.
again, now that the fictional one got people excited about garlic and these ceremonial things that are very real. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And inviting a vampire in, very real, right? Case in point, even with the law, they got to have a particular access, right? They got to have a warrant. You have to allow them in. In Moore's jurisprudence, they always speak about them attempting to establish jurisdiction, right, based on the line of questioning. If you ask them something, they ask you something, and you respond, you let them in.
Right.
And once they get inside, they assume what jurisdiction,
There you go.
and once they assume jurisdiction, they assume ownership, or they make assumptions
Authority.
and they do whatever they want.
Right.
So what we saw on April 28th
Yes.
with the executive order is him saying what? You no longer have to allow the vampires in for them to come in. He gave them an executive order for the vampires to walk in,
Right.
regardless of whether you have garlic or not. You gotta have to see whether your silver works.
Come on now. That's the world we live in right now, people. This is the end.
I'm just saying.
This is the end of America, the Republic as we know it.
This
It's a
should go on
wrap.
somewhere else. Yeah.
It's a wrap. It's something else now. But now that opens other opportunities too. Again, shout out to our brother Ibrahim Traore. Listen, time is a very, very important thing for all of us to study. Time. Because he's doing now what Sankara. Come on now.
Sankara.
You know,
Sakara was doing right.
we know, but think about it. The fact that he's done so much
And
and he's still on this side of the manifest tells you that this is a different time.
Right.
There's opportunities present now because of the chaos that weren't present
Before, yeah.
back then.
The variables are different, and the unexpected is more possible to happen, right? Because of all of these unexpected variables that exist. You can be an anomaly. You know what I'm saying? Trusting yourself enough that you step out there and do what's necessary, and you'll get further with a woman that believes in you. You know what I'm saying? And you'll get further with that woman who believes in you if she understands, right, the price that you ultimately may have to pay.
Yes.
And you'll get even further than that if that particular relationship is consecrated and her not just knowing but preparing for it.
Real talk.
Feel me?
It's so dope that I'm gonna tell you what's dope to me about this. Me walking into this conversation and world affairs are being spoken about in direct conjunction with relationships between us and our women. Direct correlation. Direct.
Man.
Absolutely.
How we relate to each other.
I feel that all world affairs are precipitated on the deterioration of the relationship that we have with
Come on, brother. That we have.
None of this would have been possible.
Oh, you got to elaborate a little bit, Blue. You got to elaborate a little bit. Explain.
Because the original goals of the destabilization, let's say of the gorilla, let's say of the silverback, right? Let's say that we existed in a concrete jungle. And let's say in this concrete jungle that the HNIC of this concrete jungle would be a silverback, right? And let's say that this silverback was only the silverback because, you know what I'm saying, he had a whiz that had a super big back, right? A silver big back, right? He was a silverback and his whiz had a silver big back. You know what I'm saying? But that was his anchor. You know what I'm saying? And the trappers and the hunters and everyone else who heard about the legend of this particular silverback and has come to the jungle on many occasions and attempted, you know, to snipe it and catch his coat and what have you, you know, the Wiz will always catch them. She would always be the most quietest one. She would see them from afar. She was one hell of a warrior. He was too. But the Wiz was his eyes behind his back.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right. That's
Lord forbid something happened to her, right? And this undefeated, you know, the Wiz be having us propped up looking like God for real, right? but we don't be seeing the back office, right? We ignore the hamstrings. We don't really know where the real power comes from.
Come on now.
So that whiz that lays them healing hands on you and motivates you and pours into you and reinforces while you outside doing the very things that you do. And when you look at her, you are reminded, and that reminder gives you the reinforcement to go outside and whoop feet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah. So
Ass.
when that is, when you don't have that reinforcement, when you don't have that reminder, when you don't have those healing hands, when you don't have that healing balm, you're gonna be angry, right? You're gonna always have to remind yourself why you're doing it. You're gonna be resentful. Then you're gonna want to take shit once you do get some power.
Real
You
talk,
feel
bro.
me? Because you gotta balance out that resentment, and you're gonna be vindictful like 47 is. You can't even focus on the shit that you need to focus on. You only focus on vengeance. You only focus on, you know what I'm saying, those petty things, the little pebbles in your shoe. You here to run a marathon, but that little pebble in your shoe will not let you forget about it. You
Come
can't
on,
get
bro.
great, but you think about the pebble in your shoe.
Yeah.
So yeah, like melanated greatness minus a whiz. I ain't never seen it.
Nope.
let me ask y'all.
Man,
Let me ask y'all a question. Um, everybody here has been in. We all from New York, and we have been in the streets to a certain extent. Some more than others. We have seen certain things. We have been around individuals who consider themselves gangsters, individuals who consider themselves thugs, individuals who consider themselves street dudes. If we're talking about, you know, this relationship and it being an important aspect of what's playing out in global affairs, what's the difference between the behavior of a gangster who got a lady at home versus a gangster in the street or a thug in the street who doesn't have a lady at home, based on what y'all experience in your life? What was the different behavior patterns between those two gangsters, thugs, or street niggas?
a street nigga who comes home to nothing is a dangerous nigga, bro.
Right.
A street dude who comes home to a cooked meal and a wife or a girl or a lady who cares about him and humanizes him and is able to tame the beast. Because keep in mind, when you outside, you at war, right? When the warrior is outside, you at war. Your shield is up, your arms is up, your sword is out. You sizing people up, they sizing you up. If you a street dude, then you're taking penitentiary chances every other day.
Right.
You flirting with death. Um, and then you have an obligation at the end of the night to settle your affairs. So you're womanizing, right? Meaning that
Right.
you either you going to the strip club and you getting some loose gooses and whatnot, or you just running around laying down with different women, but you don't have no foundation.
Right.
You don't have no you're not tapped in. There's nobody that's praying for you. Like how Annie was like, yo, I kept you alive. You don't even know when you was in a shootout. You was probably in a shootout with Al Capone, and I'm in this bitch working the motherfucking roots and whatnot.
Real talk.
You know what I mean? Because you got somebody that care about you and they's praying for you and they looking over you. Keep in mind the queen, in regard to the chess game of life with his chess, she is the most powerful piece for a reason. She can't go to places where you can't go for a reason. She can make moves that your ass can't make.
Real talk.
Because that white man ain't letting niggas into every door, but he's definitely gonna let the queen in.
Right.
You feel
Right.
me? So the people that I know who was not whizzed up, they were the ones that got clipped earlier than the ones that were whizzed up. In the streets, that is.
No doubt.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
In the streets, that is.
No doubt.
Not to say that the ones that did have whizzes didn't get clipped, but the ones who didn't have no foundation, they got taken because you don't have you could get blown in the wind easily. They got lined up, some of them got set up, some of them wilded out and they just burned out and whatnot.
Yep.
And then a lot of the other ones I saw got hooked on drugs because your whiz won't put you on drugs. But
Right.
the stripper from Magic City will. She'll put you on pills.
Quick.
She might give you a fentanyl pill. You know what I
Quick.
mean? Your main Wiz, she working a 9 to 5, you know, Beauty and the Beast type shit. She just waiting for your ass to come home to
Right.
lay it down. You know what I
Right.
mean? She's not into the streets. She ain't into the bullshit.
Right.
She tames the beast. She humanizes him, reminds him, yo, you paid your bill, you sent some money to your mom's, you called your daughter.
Come on now.
Shout out to the Wizards.
Come on now. Also, too,
Secret sauce.
those that are yoked, you know, the cats that are in the street, yo, the mission is always bigger than themselves. You know what I mean? You out in the street, like you said, you doing felony favors. You know what I mean? You throwing bricks at the penitentiary, right? But you're doing bad things for good reasons because the mission is bigger than you, and she holds you accountable to that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you don't got that, then like Red just said, you know, you're doing bad things for stupid reasons, or you're doing bad things for frivolous reasons. You know what I mean? And we already know where that leads eventually. You know, you get trapped off, you get lined up, you burn yourself out.
Right. Who's your seer? Who you going to for advice?
Right.
Yo, don't go out today. I had a dream last night. You know what I mean? that's when you are. There's a level of connection taking place. A spiritual contract has been made, and her magical powers are now going to quote unquote, you know, cloak you and protect you.
Yeah. We are debilitated. You know, I'm thinking about us as a team, like the Lakers. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't got a center. You know what I'm saying? Our Wiz, we need our Wiz for this whole mission, this whole campaign that we're going through. You know, the only way that they were able to even get this far is by destabilizing that initial connection that we had, because together we are way more stronger, and we cannot neglect that. Can't fight it. There would be none of us without Nana. So out of respect for Nana and the prayers that she put down, right? Don't make me throw my hold on, where my shit at?
Oh,
right?
Hold on.
And these is for the very reasons, the shit that Annie said, that I knew that there was a Nana praying for me. I knew that there was a Wiz out there praying for me. I knew that these people who were orientated in the power of prayer never put that thing down when we were outside trying to make our minds up, right? Stuck and confused. You know what I mean? And somebody was putting on, somebody was propping you up, somebody was pulling for you. And you really want to create that spiritual bond with a Wiz that is unbreakable and unbearable. And I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm gonna blow spots up. I'm gonna tell y'all this and utilize it. You feel me? Because we be playing games and we playing ourselves by playing these games. It's like, it's just, if your Wiz is praying for you, right? And those spirits and them angels is always with you praying, them spirits and angels with you in the strip club too, right? So you need to do things in private and public that you would do with your Wiz. If you're not going to be honest to anybody other than yourself, make sure that it's your Wiz, because that's a spiritual bond. The trust that y'all have,
right?
When you reinforce it, it strengthens her ability to be there for you. The minute that you start creating gaps and holes in it, then prayers don't work. That cover is gone.
Sure.
And you are susceptible. Yes, your cover is gone, my nigga, and the sentinels will get through. You feel me? Yeah. And the way that your ass garners a level of karma is by you sitting up there and telling her shit that's untruthful, and she's sitting there praying for your ragged ass.
Yo, bro. Yo, Blue.
Real quick, Sharif. Blue, you use King as an example of that. Martin Luther King. Cheating on his woman. You use him as an example.
Yo, Blue. I've been witness. I bear witness, bro.
Testifying. Tell him.
Yeah, I bear witness. Mm-hmm. What you said is actual fact. It really, really, really is.
I'm preaching.
So, like we're looking at like our brother, we want a cover of protection of our brother Ibrahim Traore, right?
Fact.
It all comes back down to exactly what we're talking about right now. You know what I'm saying? And that our power is in our sincerity. Our power is in our honesty. You know? And come on, let's keep it up. We're all human. We all got lower selves. We all have been through it. To one, now whether you learn from it is something different. I've been through it. You know what I'm saying? And inshallah, I'm learning. I'm learning, bro.
Mm-hmm.
We all are.
But that's a real lesson. See, experience is a great teacher, but a harsh one. Why? Because she gives the examination before the lesson.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
She get a test first.
Mm.
Goddamn.
It's real.
That's a quotable
Yeah.
shit right there, my
Yeah.
Let me, we got 15 more minutes. We're about to hit the 2-hour mark. I got to get out of here, y'all. Let me get a couple of questions for these gentlemen. I mean, we got about almost 2,000 people in the room. Amazing show as always. Before we get into Q&A, y'all got the Saints and Sinners happening tomorrow. What's happening tomorrow? What's going on?
Yes. We have a comprehensive analysis. This is not a decoding. This is a recoding. We are attempting as best possible to deliver you some of the gems that were so skillfully and craftily inserted inside of this particular demonstration. And like I said, it's not just the movie, it's all of the things that are surrounding and attaching this movie as a real-time movement, you know what I'm saying, as what we called a clarion call, the heralding, the same way this time last year that we were speaking about what Kendrick was about to do, and bring a reckoning to the game, and quote unquote, the hip hop was in judgment, it was on the scales, and we was about to see which way it tilts. Right now, we are in judgment. You know what I'm saying? Do you know who the vampires are, and can you vanquish them? And this is about salvation versus damnation.
Come on now.
You know what I'm saying? Where are you going to end up at? You feel
That's
me?
real. Got you.
Yes, indeed.
So
tomorrow,
tomorrow
at 8:00 on Zoom, me and this good brother right here, we're going to be bringing Saints and Sinners, and it's a unique perspective from two twins.
That's right.
And it's going to definitely have that imprint of the red and the blue in our demonstration, Saints and Sinners. Like Blue said, we're going to identify vampires. We're going to continue the conversation that we started on this platform with the oligarchs in the rap, the rap game, and their intersection with those vampires, with those quote unquote mobsters. The perfect alignment with what the movie showed and whatnot. How their hands,
yeah, and let me give a triple salute to our good brother Wesley Muhammad.
Woo!
Yeah.
Next to Sharif, he is the scholar of the quarter century.
Yeah.
In my regards, for
actual fact, that's our
the level of his research, and always being, academically one step ahead of the game. I watched his addendum. He did an additional piece to the piece that me, my brother, and Rich did about the Whitney Webb piece about Diddy and Epstein, and he did an unprecedented, amazing job. Shout out to Wes Muhammad.
He bodied that.
Absolutely.
So the Zoom link, somebody's asking for the Zoom link. We're gonna drop it in the chat tomorrow on Zoom, and it has to be Zoom because we will not be able to show it on YouTube. We're going to be showing clips from the movie and other content. Of course, we're going to have that conversation and that talk that the algorithm does not like to hear. So 8 p.m. Eastern, me and Blue, Zoom tomorrow. Be there. Shout out to everybody that got their tickets. We looking forward to delivering a certified classic. And it will be recorded. I don't know how long we'll be going in, but it's going to be more than 3 hours.
Somebody asked a good question. They said, what are the thoughts on them dancing to the vampire music and him having to turn them even to dance to that type of music. When I saw that, I understood that getting sturdy is war dance.
Straight like that.
Homie was getting sturdy, and I was like, oh, so getting sturdy is really a war dance.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it looked like. They wasn't river dancing, he was war dancing.
Right.
He was getting sturdy like they do in the Bronx.
For sure.
I was like, oh shit.
Sharif, what I told you we did that show? Sharif, remember what I told you? What did I tell you? I said if I get reincarnated, I said if I want to get, and people
You want
laugh.
to come back as a dance.
A dance. I said I want to come back as a dance, a revolutionary dance move.
A whole dance move.
People was like, man, what this nigga bugging out? No, I'm serious.
Nah.
Yo, this is, and I'm glad we are grown ass man. We got over the hurdles, right? So we can have these conversations and still have them in honor. Like, I be watching Kendrick on tour, and I'm like, damn, son came out on the Super Bowl and templated them dance moves, and I cannot stop seeing. You feel me?
Right.
Like how much those moves are part of performance art now.
Yeah.
And seeing it mimicked, and I'm like, you don't even have to have a proper two-step, just have a dance.
Exactly.
Just a dance.
Exactly.
You don't gotta be Chris Brown out there. Just have a step. Yeah, just put together a step, like a military step, if anything. Like
movement is technology.
Movement is technology.
Just like breath is the interface between your non-physical self and your physical self, movement is an interface between deep intention and the manifest world.
Facts.
Yeah.
Yo, speaking of movement, I've heard, like I said, I don't know who said it. I talked to so many people I done interviewed and talk. I don't know. Somebody talked about there's a science of spinning. What's the science of spinning, Sharif?
Twirling
like our brothers and dervishes, right? There's a reason when we say, like for instance, in the Moorish Science of America, we say, all rise, face the east. Why we face the east? See what I'm saying? There's a reason. Matter of fact, we talked about it on the show a while back, right? About, for instance, people, certain cultures that read right to left instead of left to right.
Yeah.
We're talking about counterclockwise movement, face the east. Spin, that's putting you in tune with celestial bodies.
Right, with the Taurus.
There you go.
Spinning, because everything is vibration, Rich, and everything is still spinning. So the twirling dervishes, they get into this dance and whatnot.
Yes.
And they tapping into that whole, you know what I mean? They're tapping into the quote unquote electromagnetic sphere.
There you
go. They go into trance.
That's right. That's right. That's right, bro. You go into a space like we talk about meditation, for instance, real meditation. I'm not talking about just relaxing, put on some incense and Real meditation is not something you do, it's a place you go.
There you go.
Right.
See what I'm saying? It's a place. So, and there's many different ways to get to a particular place.
Right.
Rotation is one of them.
Right.
Right?
So,
the drums is one of them.
Right.
Chanting is one of them. There's many different vehicles.
So the young generation, they call the YNs and whatnot, their whole thing when they go, they got a war dance, right? And that's called getting sturdy. And then they go and spin. Right? Mm-hmm. So spin is slang for basically going to war, right? Or attacking and whatnot. They go and spin the block. They go spin on their ops and whatnot.
Right.
But they were also doing spinning dances, right?
Yes.
Before the young boy that got clipped, who came up with the sturdy dance. T-Top or whatever was the name, out of Brooklyn. They was and with Pop Smoke they was doing a spin. They was spinning. They was dancing. They was doing that dance.
Sturdy, then they
was spinning it out. Yeah, they were getting sturdy and they was spinning it out. And when I saw it, I was like, yeah, that reminds me of the twirling dervishes. But that the twirling, those are the dudes over there in Turkey, I believe.
Yeah.
They're Sufis, right? So they're tapping into the spirit and the mysticism of what's considered to be circumambulation.
Yo, listen,
You know
we
what
used
I'm
to
saying?
say in the
Say that
street,
word again. What's that word, Blue?
circumambulation.
Circumambulation. So
right.
by them tapping into circumambulation, they're also tapping into subtle organ energy. And
Yes.
if we can envision once again the subtle energy body, it will look almost like what they showed you with Sammy when he was opening portals,
Come on
strumming
now.
the strings,
Come
because
on
once
now.
again, those strings are connected to this string universe that we
String
are
theory.
in, right? In the spheres of body with these 88 strings connected to these 88 constellation and these these seven octaves and these eights and all of this stuff, this whole science of music, it was shown and perfectly demonstrated. He showed it to you spiritually. We got all the CIA papers that are breaking
That's
it
right.
metaphysically,
Yeah.
Yeah,
speaking
yeah,
about the energy
scientifically.
signatures of it. But I like what we seen with Sammy. Just demonstrate, just show
It
me
just
this,
demonstrated.
right? Yeah, just demonstrate it. So when we circumambulate, right, and we are going into the motion of other spheres of body, planetary spheres of
Yes.
body, then we are in alignment, right? And like Red said, we are connecting with those magnetic fields and
Yo,
we are unlocking. You feel me? We
Blue
are
just dropped he just dropped a mega bomb with that one, people. That's the magical art of substitution.
Mm,
If I can rotate, if I can rotate my body to a frequency that matches, let's say, Sirius, where you
right,
think I end up?
right,
Mm.
mm.
right.
That's real, people.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
Mm-hmm.
fact.
So right off the break, we know that what that the twirling dervish, if they're Sufi, then they're dealing with Venusian energy, which is Venus,
Mm-hmm.
right? So then we would have to say, what's the twirl of Venus?
Come on
Venus is a
now.
pentagram, right? And it makes a particular twirl. You can Google what the twirl actually looks like.
Right.
So when you
Yes.
They
watch these
reported it.
planets, they be moving
Yes.
through and around one another. Do they not be looking like they swirling?
Come on now.
Mm.
Yeah, you got to get into salsa, right?
Yes.
I was I was with Mike. He was doing a salsa dance. We was in LA and we went to a spot and he was salsa dancing with the women's, yo. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah.
So the salsa, the waltz, remember the waltz dance back in the days where everybody had that movement, that perfect movement and
Yeah.
whatnot?
Yeah.
Like they was in a zone and whatnot. And let's not even
Yo,
talk about
yeah.
the juke joint dances.
Let's not
Right.
talk about the juke joint, but let's not talk about the line dances either, because I'm seeing it come back through that.
Coming back.
Where
We a fan at, Blue. We a fan at.
they just
And
naturally do it. Not in this one, I seen the homies with the unks,
Oh, the word.
with
They
the
going in.
city girls, with shorties just having a hot summer, and they all was dancing the jig, and the men look like men, and the
come on
women
now.
look like
Look like
women.
women.
Come on
You know what I'm
now.
That's
saying? With
a
no
fact.
funny business. They had
Right.
Q's was online. They had the YNs was there.
Yeah.
The big the yellow bellas was there. All of them
If
was
I was single and ready to mingle, I would follow the
everybody was in the
Beyonce tour.
same. And the women was holding that vibration, and
Right.
the men was
And it was
holding it, and it looked so dope together.
right.
That was like, yo,
That's crazy.
imagine. Remember when they did like the Hands Across America?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, imagine if we line dance and the line be like from
Oh, that's
Atlanta
wild.
to Texas.
That's wild.
They said that Delbert Blair used to dance salsa. Remember that?
Delbert,
He
they
was
said Delbert
when
used to cut
he
off.
invited us to come through, and he would dance the salsa. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah, Happy Feet. Shout out to everybody that's a dancer. Bobby is a dancer.
Right.
Bobby had Happy Feet. Bobby was
Right.
opening up portals and all of that crazy shit on. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Was he
Yo,
on? Did Bobby make it to the Soul Train line?
I don't know.
I don't think so, right?
Yeah.
I know, Rich. We need to announce a date back to the mountain soon, so we could do a boots on the ground on top of Stone Mountain.
You know, I talked to Keys today. It's funny. Did you talk to Keys today?
I didn't. Nope.
It's funny you bring that. I just talked to Keys. I Blue. I don't know what the fuck is up with Blue on his phone, but I gotta talk to you because I talked to Keys.
I'll call you tomorrow.
Top Cats. I talked to Top Cats and a
Okay.
couple other people. I'll say their names off camera because
All right, I got you.
But yeah. But it's
It's
yeah.
getting closer. All right.
Yeah. Give me a call tomorrow, before, like for real,
Yeah.
for real. Yeah.
So family, I speak to you about the cigars anyway.
Yo, oh my God, I'm glad. Listen, damn. See, Red was supposed to come over them because his son's supposed to come over. You got the workshop tomorrow, right, Red?
I do.
Yo, I gotta do. Yo,
Sunday.
Bachata and merengue is what it's called.
And I got something for you too. I got a whole gift box that I ain't been able to bring to you, but this shit been sitting here for about a month already.
You was telling me.
Yeah, so somebody said in the chat.
Yes, sir.
What they said in chat?
The activation of the hips. And when you finish speaking to Sharif, just from a martial arts perspective, from a meridian, from a traditional Chinese medicine perspective, I want you to speak about what meridian is dealing with in the hip area.
Yes.
Because for men is different. And again, I want to get brothers into understanding the importance of movement, and you can still stay in your masculinity, right?
Absolutely.
I ain't said twerk. I didn't say that you gotta take what your mama gave you, nothing like that. I said that we gotta understand the mobility of the hips, even for the brothers that are getting into particular age, over the age of 50 specifically.
That's a fact.
Because osteoporosis, if you have hip damage, these are the things that lead to early death, and all these are indicators. So with women, meridian wise, what is it about? What aspect of their hips is the attention being paid to, and can you identify where would the organ energy be connected?
You said a mouthful. See, that's a workshop in and of itself. But real quick, I'll be brief, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you got two places in the hips and the lower abdomen.
Yes.
You got the space just below the navel. And then you have another space, the perineum, between the genitals and the anus, those two spots.
Right.
The perineum point. If we were to describe polarity, the point below the navel is the male point, and the point of the perineum is the female point. Okay? If we're to describe polarities. Now, why is this important? Because, again, remember, our physical bodies are interfaced with higher dimensions. They already are.
Right.
So you doing something physical, it's affecting things there, and vice versa. Right? Okay. So as we get older, we become less mobile. And remember, stagnation, disease comes from energetic stagnation.
Still waters run deep.
There you go. So the perineum point, the Chinese called the meeting of yin. Yin as opposed to yang. Right? You could call it the gathering place of antimatter, the gathering place of dark matter. Okay. Now, there's a marriage that should happen between the point below the navel and that point. And that marriage happens through motion that goes this way as opposed to this way. All right? Now, less motion, more stagnation. This is one of the number one reason why brothers, especially our age, start having prostate issues.
Prostate issues, yes.
That's it. If for no other reason, men our age and older need to squat more and need to move the hips more.
What about the Kegel exercises? Are you
extremely
co-signing
important?
that?
Extremely important. So,
Is there a
ahead.
Kegel? Is there a Kegel gym?
Yes. Oh, a Kegel gym. Here we go.
I'm in LA Fitness doing Kegels, and they looking at me crazy, bro.
So let me throw this exercise out for all of you, men and women, but definitely the men.
All right.
So the point below the navel has two reference points on the body. One is right below the navel. The other is between the kidneys. So here's the exercise. In your mind, draw a line between the perineum and the kidney point, the point between the kidneys. So what you do is you inhale and pull from the perineum to the kidney point. Exhale, relax. 3 sets of 9 every day.
3 sets of 9?
3 sets of 9 reps.
Okay.
Inhale, pull up from the perineum to the point between the kidneys. Exhale, relax. There you go.
Yo, there was an article in the New York Times today about how important deep breathing is from the elite athlete perspective. They had Curry and all of them. Curry said that he's making all of his threes because he practiced box breathing, which is the shit that I've been talking about, the 4-4 breathing technique. I was like,
real talk.
Because it put him what? In the zone. Same thing that I said.
Zone.
I said, if you want to be in walking theta, do the 4-4 breathing.
Yes. No, that's real.
And
that's
then,
real.
you know.
That's real. Breath is frequent. Well, breath rate is frequency, just like tuning a radio.
Right.
You can tune into different frequencies by changing the rate and frequency of breath.
Absolutely.
Actual fact.
Yo, I'm telling you, a Kegel gym.
Yo, that's ill.
I'm just saying,
that's wild right there. That's
let one of my let one of my altcoins turn into a shit coin. I'm gonna buy me a Kegel gym. I'm gonna buy me a Kegel gym. You know what I'm talking about? Because brothers need to work it out. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, real talk.
We don't have that at Planet Fitness and LA Fitness out here. So I need a whole Kegel gym.
Something real simple. Real simple, but it's actually very metaphysical for men and women, but definitely men. The ability to squat like the Asians, like the Southeast Asians.
All the way down.
Squat all the way down, but keep your heels on the ground.
I just
have you got to touch the ground when you squat down.
You don't necessarily have to touch the ground, but your heels
got to be on the ground.
Heels got to be flat.
Yes.
What does that do? I just seen that on the internet.
That exercise alone will help you heal and shrink the prostate.
Oh yeah.
Well, that back against the wall, or is that free? Is that free?
You can balance yourself. Doesn't matter as long as you can get there.
All the way down.
The Shaolin stance.
Yeah, we got I'm gonna take one more question. I gotta get out of here, y'all. So I'm gonna take Blue. You all right? You all right? Yeah, Blue. It's past Blue bedtime, man.
It's real.
Tomorrow night, man. Blue.
It's past Blue bedtime.
It's real. I attempted it.
What are we doing?
Let's get one more last question in before we get out of here. I had a wonderful time tonight. Somebody said, "Oh, what about?" I think y'all touched on this. Shakur with the 144,000. I mean, I'm sorry, not 100.
Again,
yeah.
As I explained, yeah, I'm okay. See, Annie came looking for me. I'm good.
He's doing squats on live. Man. He good, Ma.
This you heard it. I'm good, baby. Shador equals 44 and Sanders equals 44. So together his name equaled 88. He's going to Cleveland, a school made famous by Jim Brown, who comes from Syracuse, where this man is from, which is the school that is considered the legend of 44, because this is where all of them come from. But specifically, Ernie Little, who was played by Chadwick Boseman in his very first movie, which was called Express. So this ties us back to this movie right here, Saints and Sinners, because that's all they was talking about on the press run was Chadwick, who is the thrice king, or who I call the coronation king, that ties us at Jubilee.
Yo.
And this year is the Jubilee. In the Catholic tradition, or it's called the Year of Hope and Mercy, hope also equals 44. So I've explained 144 equals 44 because the word April 4th equals 144, but so does the word 44. It equals 144. So this takes us right back to, shout out to AA, that amazing program he did here when he was demonstrating the importance of 44 in relationships to pi. And we right here speaking about a pi resonator or 44 resonator called Ibrahim Torre, right? Because I'm sure that I got numbers on him too. He's a 44 resonator, but he's born on a 44 day.
Right,
which is 314,
right,
and so the Shador thing again, Shador equals 88. The day they put the father in the ground, which is the Pope, is the day that they elected the son. So Shador Sanders was a continuation of the rising of the sun ceremony that started on Easter. That was amplified the day after when the Pope transitioned on a Monday, on
Easter
Easter
Monday.
Monday, the day of the Mother. And this Pope was a Pope who dedicated his service to Virgin Mary, and that's where he got buried. He broke tradition and did not get buried inside of the Vatican. He got buried in a Mary affiliated tomb.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, so the Pope died at 88. Shador Sanders equals 88. And again, the Shador Sanders or the SS motif is the same Shannon Sharp SS motif. Shannon Sharp case came out on Easter. In case you know, when they drop paperwork on a Sunday. That's strategic. That they dropped SS on Hitler's birthday, which was 420, and then Hitler is HH, which is Heil Hitler, which the initials HH equal 88. So
88.
Anybody that knows anything about white supremacy, neo-Nazis, or any of them folks know that their number is 88 because
that's fact.
It's HH, which is Heil Hitler. And
on
his birthday or the day after, the 88-year-old from the country that Hitler was in after
Argentina,
after World War II, right? Transitions at 88. And then again, like I said, that he's tethered directly into Shador Sanders, who is the raising or the fear of a black Shador Messiah is what we saw, right? Because they fear the son of the king, right?
Yes.
And the reverse was what? They had to let him in reverse. Same way that you got to let in the vampire, they had to let in the Messiah. And they waited to 144 to do it. But the fact that they did it at 144 and connected him to Cleveland, yeah.
Powerful.
Watch the sunrise.
Powerful. Listen, I gotta get out of here, family. I would love to stay on here longer, but I gotta get out of here.
Appreciate you, God.
Appreciate you, bro.
Leave all of y'all leave your contact info before we get out of here.
For sure. Sharif Anail Bay. You can find me on the gram, find me on TikTok, Sifu Sharif, find me on the book. Easy. Oh, real quick too. I've been lax. I'm sorry with the Qigong courses, right? Text Qigong to 315-552-1638. I got you.
Yes. Brother Blue Pillar 44 at Instagram, Blue44 at Gmail. I'm on Instagram, X, what is that, TikTok. I'm on a new social platform, a social monetization platform called Yapit, YAPIT. I'll be doing some more stuff, about that program, about that platform, but that's where I'm at. All right.
Know the Ledger 444. Know the Ledger 444. That's the YouTube channel. Melanin Monday, Third Eye Thursday, Sacrilegious Sundays, and all of that. Tap in. That's our new channel. Make sure you guys subscribe and tap in, and we'll see you tomorrow in the lecture, Saints and Sinners on Zoom. Look forward to it. You dig?
I'm gonna be traveling. I got a speaking engagement in Newark, New Jersey tomorrow, but I'm definitely tuning in when I'm on my way back up top.
Yes,
got you. Already.
And I gotta give a shout out to KT because he
legend
pushed his back
to the 10th.
He's on the 10th. He would have been joining us tomorrow, but I think he said he's going on vacation. But there was a very open overture to have KT included in this demonstration. We did not want to do it alone. We wanted to do it with Sammy.
Yeah, so we want to bring Sammy with us. So shout out to Sammy out there doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yo, if what y'all doing tomorrow is anything like what Blue and Red was talking about tonight, shit, man.
Oh, it's levels.
It's next level. And we doing it as video. Mine is gonna be a movie. It's gonna be a video. I'm not doing the standing up lecture thing no more. Everything, I have become a full blown editor.
Beautiful.
So I just want to do movies and video essays.
Yo, we got a link, bro, because we have the film company. So
Yeah, I just want to say I love you, brothers, and
Love you too, bro. For
thank you
real.
for these opportunities
Yo,
once again to be heard and be seen, not on some. I want to amongst our peers, amongst our family, and having these opportunities to seize these headlines, to have real time conversations, and put out clarion calls. I'm so excited about this concept of our people waking up and saying no more, about people putting their foot down, about people saying, I ain't my grandfather, all of that stuff that we be saying. But
Facts.
we here now, you know what I'm saying? And again, I seen somebody post it. Also, it will be a wonderful thing if we could do a 1 year show about Euphoria. Euphoria came out on
they said today.
Today.
They said
it
today.
wasn't today, it was the 29th. It was the 30th. It was Wednesday of this week.
Okay.
It was the 1 year anniversary on Wednesday. Because last year it came out on a Tuesday. So that prophetic piece of work, that prophetic piece, because they keep talking about the, not like us, and that's cute, but Euphoria.
Let's put on the hip hop
It
channel.
was a year later. Yeah, we're gonna have to do that on Hip Hopolis and speak about the prophetic rappers. These people who have templated the game to go how they said it would go, and it has not deviated. Yo, dude is on tour in front of 40,000 people a night. 40K, bro.
Yeah, he
I didn't even know they could fit that many people in the stadium.
That's the stadium for you. Yeah, he's harvesting some powerful energy.
Son did
If you
not.
have not seen the show, Rich, the Kendrick tour, please get that ticket before the vibes. Get go see your boy.
Right.
Go.
Right.
That's the performance. That shit is lit. Vibes ain't doing all that. He doing pull up. He doing two. Like, you know what I mean? He doing like
auxiliary
3 verses.
chord
He's doing half a
performance.
verse. He pull up.
He like, let me get the aux chord. He played it from his phone.
Yeah, he playing it on the aux chord in the concert. Yo, y'all singing with me. Kendrick, no backup track. Breath work is crazy. He got dances. He got a bunch of things. So I'm just saying that'll be a treat to yourself, bro.
For sure.
But I want to say thank you, everybody, as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Brother Rich. Sharif.
Yes, sir.
You, man. I'm glad you're back, man.
Yes, sir. Yes,
We
sir.
out here. You know what I mean? I'm glad to see you on the platform doing your thing, my brother.
Likewise, brother. Y'all inspired me for years, B.
Yeah, I want to take that gorilla on. I feel brave, man. I feel like we could do it. I don't feel comfortable with this 100 men versus a gorilla shit going on. And I know that 30 good black men could knock that dude down.
Come on now. That's it. All we need to do is channel our inner Traore. That's it.
In that just channel out in the Ibrahim.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Bring that dude though that you was in the video with.
Oh, I got you.
Because I'm putting him in the front.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm putting him in the front.
Yo, Sharif, are you coming down to Georgia when we do the Stone Mountain hike?
When?
We might do it in June.
I'm there. Shoot me the date.
I'm gonna let you know. Yeah, I'm gonna let you know. It's gonna be big. Oh, also before we leave, yo, Sharif, man, yeah. I got some. Listen, I came into contact. Listen, I'm the new tobacco chief in town, right?
Oh, okay.
Hit a big chief.
The beautiful island of Honduras has blessed me with 100% pure tobacco that the Curanderos, I might be saying their name wrong. They're the shamans over there. I think they call the Curanderos. The shamans over there, those are individuals that helped Sabi out when Sabi was sick. And these are the tobacco that they smoke. This is something tobacco unlike any tobacco that's out there. I mean, this is like when you want to meet God, you meet God in trance. Remember me talk about, where you meet God? You meet God in trance. That's where you meet God. In that trance, that's where you meet God. But listen, Sharif, I gotta send you one.
Okay.
What I'm doing is people who donate to the channel, I'm sending them a cigar as a gift. So I'm gonna start again next week, y'all. It's not available now. Did anybody get it? Whoever got it, did y'all have an opportunity to blow it down or use them yet? If y'all let me know in the chat if y'all did. Also, a quick announcement before we get out of here. I will be on King Simon's show on Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah, that's going to be raw and uncut. I have my opportunity to speak about the conscious community and my coming up in this whole movement. It's going to be raw and uncut. I told King Simon, King, don't get mad because King, I might have to ask you a couple of questions about polite, King.
You gonna be blowing your cigar while you talking?
I might have to ask you a question or two about polite, King, because they said you brought him in the community hard, King. So I might have to ask you. This is just a preview. I'm gonna let y'all know I'm gonna be raw and uncut on Tuesday.
You going there to be interviewed. You interviewed. You're gonna take his job title over there. It's like you gonna be on the hot seat.
Right.
I gotta bring it up. I'm not to say the accident, but I gotta.
I'm saying he been doing some shows over there. That have been like exposés and revisits of the community. So I need to invite King about that time.
Yeah, King, because I know they when his name come up. The name that is associated most with him is you, King Simon. So we're gonna have a great conversation, a real great conversation. But back to this tobacco, y'all. Next week, Red Blue, I gotta get y'all to come through, man, and we gotta blow it down with the tobacco, man. It's a beautiful thing. I feel like wow, I've never experienced nothing like it. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Never experienced nothing like it. It's a beautiful thing. So,
Yes,
with that being said, any other announcements? I think we good, right?
We good, bro.
Let me share this link one last time before I get out of here. The Eventbrite link for Red and Blue tomorrow. Because based on this show, they had me on the show. Y'all know I don't be on the shows this long, but they had me on for 2 hours because they was just going in. So make sure make sure y'all tune in tomorrow for the Saints and Sinners. But with that being said, everybody have a good night. Sign it out. Peace. Peace, everyone. All right.